A heart attack never schedules an appointment. One minute you are buttering warm toast, humming at the stove, thinking about the day ahead. The next, the kitchen tiles tilt sideways. A fist clamps down inside your chest, and every breath rasps like icy sand. You try to call a loved one's name, but the voice refuses to move. That is how silent the buildup is. Few witnesses have studied that hidden storm the way Dr. Ellsworth Wareham did. For more than 6 decades, he leaned over operating tables in bright, humming theaters, hands steady, mind calm, eyes magnified through binocular goggles. At 95, an age when many need assistance to stand, he could still guide a 6-hour bypass and then drive home to plant marigolds before sunset. Newspapers ran the headline, "Century-old heart surgeon still saving lives." But the deeper story was what he learned by looking inside tens of thousands of beating hearts. He described the contrast in plain farm language that matched his childhood roots. "Some arteries look like fresh garden hoses," he told a reporter. "Others look like clay pipes left out in the frost." The garden hose arteries belonged to seniors who had lived mostly on plants, oats, beans, fruits, nuts, vegetables tugged from the ground that morning. Their vessel walls were soft pink, almost elastic, able to flex every time the heart surged. Calcium deposits were tiny, if they existed at all. The clay pipes belonged to heavy meat eaters whose daily menus read like a barbecue billboard. Bacon at dawn, burgers at noon, roast at night, sugar chasing every meal. Those arteries were brittle, beige, rough as old drywall. Sometimes, under the gentlest tug, they fractured so badly that Wareham could not sew a bypass onto them. There was simply nothing solid left to stitch. Once that pattern slapped him in the face enough times, Wareham turned the lens inward. On his 50th birthday, he ate his last bite of beef, folded the steak knife, and wrote a new rule book. Breakfast became slow-cooked oatmeal crowned with blueberries and walnuts. Lunch was a heap of vibrant vegetables with a scoop of beans and a slice of whole-grain bread. Supper repeated those colors, and once a week he honored childhood memories by steaming a modest fillet of salmon, never fried, never drenched in butter. Within a single year, cholesterol levels shrank, energy soared, and the surgeon who already worked like a locomotive felt as if a second youth had opened inside his chest. Yet diet was only the first puzzle piece. "You can shovel premium fuel into a rusty engine and it will still fail," he joked at a cardiology conference. The second piece involved the morning ritual most people perform without thinking. Millions roll out of bed, skip breakfast, and pour a mug of black coffee. Caffeine on an empty stomach jolts cortisol, the body's alarm hormone. Heart rate spikes, arteries tighten, blood pressure leaps. For someone whose vessels are already inflamed, that single surge can supply the final straw. Wareham had wheeled more than one commuter into surgery before noon and traced the day's disaster back to coffee swallowed before food. The third piece involved white powders that sneak into nearly every cupboard, refined sugar and white flour. Under a camera lens, sugar crystals look like tiny knives. When blood floods with them too often, they scrape the fragile Teflon-smooth lining of arteries. The body, trying to patch the wounds, smears cholesterol like putty over each nick. That putty hardens, narrows the passage, and invites calcium to settle in like limestone. Repeat the injury repair cycle 3 times a day for 20 years, and a pipeline that started wider than a pencil might shrink to the diameter of a matchstick, thin enough that one rogue clot can choke it shut. Movement framed every other rule because, as Wareham reminded young interns, blood hates idle time. 30 minutes of walking massages leg muscles that squeeze veins upward like toothpaste tubes, sending fresh blood to the heart and brain. It polishes arteries from the inside with gentle currents that whisper, "Stay slick, not sticky," to vessel cells. Wareham preferred dawn walks through his garden, clippers in hand, trimming a rogue branch here, tying a tomato stem there. He called it double medicine, exercise for the heart, and fresh herbs for the dinner pot. But the silent killer he feared even more than meat, coffee, or sugar was stress stored too long in the body, the slow acid of anger, worry, and resentment. Stress hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, work miracles in short bursts, yet they carve disaster when they leak all day like a dripping tap. Loud arguments replayed in the mind at midnight, traffic jams laced with horn blasts, simmering office politics. Each episode squeezed vessels and sanded their interiors. Wareham once felt an angioscopy camera bump over tiny ridges of stress damage inside living arteries. The patient was a corporate lawyer who lived on coffee, deadlines, and 5 hours of sleep. All those lessons crystallized into 5 plain morning laws Wareham shared on every discharge sheet. 1. Drink 2 warm glasses of water before a single word leaves your mouth. 2. Move your limbs before you read any news. 10 minutes is enough. 3. Stretch before looking at a screen. Loose muscle plus deep breath equals wide vessels. 4. Place any whole food in the stomach before coffee so caffeine arrives as a friend, not an invader. 5. Fill half the breakfast bowl with plants, not packages. Seniors who obeyed those 5 saw blood pressure slide, cholesterol dip, and energy grow roots. Stories proved the point better than graphs. A grandmother on 3 heart pills copied Wareham's water walk oats routine. Within 2 months, her cardiologist cut one medication in half. A middle-aged engineer tossed white sugar, hoarded rolled oats, and learned the coffee after food rule. His carotid ultrasound 6 months later showed plaque retreat that medication alone had failed to budge. One man already scheduled for bypass asked for 3 months' grace to try the lifestyle. When he returned, angiography showed enough improvement that surgeons canceled the operation, giving him back both his chest bone and his savings. Wareham never pretended his program was flashy. He argued that modern flash was exactly the trap-destroying arteries: processed food, 24-hour screens, drive-through meals, and the cult of speed. He grew up on a dirt road where walking was mandatory. Meals were boiled grains and vegetables because meat was expensive, and nights ended when the sun disappeared. In truth, he said, his radical regimen was nothing more than a return to common sense before marketing taught us to worship flavor over function. When journalists begged for a summary, he offered a line that fits on a sticky note: water before coffee, oats before sugar, walking before wheels, sleep before screens. Over decades, that one sentence saved more lives than entire shelves of blockbuster pills. The genius of the centenarian surgeon was not only in the precision of his hands, but in the clarity of his message. Complex machines thrive on simple fuel and gentle daily use. When we choose the opposite, the toll is counted in funerals. Still, he spoke with optimism because biology forgives. Arteries can retool, plaques can stabilize, endothelial cells can grow fresh layers if we stop assaulting them. Even someone already lying in a coronary care bed can start recovery by sipping water, breathing slow, and planning a plateful of colors for tomorrow. Wareham's own career proved the power of a mid-course correction. He changed at 50, not 20, yet lived vigorously past 100, mowing lawns, lecturing med students, and scrubbing before surgeries, until he finally traded the scalpel for a garden spade. He illustrated the process to patients with a kitchen analogy. Picture a clear glass straw, he would say. Pour smooth soup through it every day, and the straw stays glossy. Drip sticky syrup down the inside and let it harden overnight. Soon the bore shrinks by half, and you must blow harder to push any liquid through. Your heart is the pump, your arteries the straw. Why force the pump to labor by coating the walls in syrup when water and vegetable broth glide effortlessly? One memory haunted him, involving a soft-spoken accountant devoted to sausage biscuits. Wareham operated on him twice, cleaning arteries like a plumber clearing roots from pipes, and warned that one more blockage would cost a limb. The man lasted 8 months before collapsing, infections spread, and surgeons amputated below the knee. Food made the knife unnecessary, Wareham told students. Food could have kept his foot. He never shared that story to shame, only to underline the stakes hidden inside everyday sandwiches. Critics sometimes waved his guidance away as genetic luck, that he stayed spry because of DNA, not oatmeal. Wareham answered with global data. Rural Chinese communities living on under 10% animal products showed heart disease rates near zero until Western fast food arrived. Autopsies of American soldiers, teenagers during the Korean War, already revealed fatty streaks in their aortas. Genes load the gun, he admitted, but lifestyle pulls the trigger, again and again. Yet the best part of his prescription was liberation, not restriction. Patients did not leave his clinic picturing gray lettuce. They left armed with permission to enjoy color, crunch, sunlight, laughter, rich experiences money cannot buy. Wareham often said, "I want you to live longer so you have more mornings to plant roses, dance with grandchildren, and breathe mountain air that smells like pine." When purpose fuels habit, the habit lasts. Why do most hearts fail in silence? Because plaque is shy, arteries carry no pain nerves, and daily rituals we celebrate in commercials. Double bacon, caramel latte, streaming thrillers until 1 a.m. add up like compound interest in a dangerous bank. How did a centenarian surgeon solve the puzzle? By paying attention to the silent evidence in front of him and translating it into 5 actions any family can start before tomorrow's sunrise. He turned surgical scars into prevention steps and handed them to anyone willing to trade a mug of black coffee on an empty stomach for a glass of warm water and a stroll through morning air. The Daily Action Plan. 7 habits that give your arteries another 30 years. Imagine you walk into your kitchen tomorrow morning and see 2 futures floating above the countertop like holograms. In one picture, you keep every habit you hold now: toast covered in jam, coffee before food, hours in a chair, late-night screen glow. 10 years ahead, the image ripples. Extra blood pressure pills line the bathroom shelf, stairs feel steeper, and your cardiologist mentions possible stents while tapping a scan. In the second picture, nothing in your life looks dramatic or extreme. You drink warm water first, eat oatmeal instead of a donut, take 2 short walks that add up to half an hour, laugh at a silly video, stretch your back, close the bedroom curtain by 9:30 p.m. Yet that gentle script writes a wildly different ending. The scan your doctor shows a decade later carries the words, minimal plaque, arteries flexible. Which scene becomes real depends on 7 plain habits you can start today. Habits lifted straight from centenarian surgeons like Dr. Ellsworth Wareham and Dr. Michael DeBakey, who practiced what they preached and outlived many of their original patients. Let's walk through each habit, step by step, as if we are building a simple, repeatable schedule rather than a rigid boot camp. Habit 1. Hydrate before you activate. The first movement of every day is not a stretch or a step. It is the small lift of a glass. 2 tall cups of warm water glide down your throat, wake sleepy kidneys, thin the blood, and jumpstart bowel motion so toxins exit quickly. Warmth matters because cold water shocks the stomach, while lukewarm liquid slips through the pylorus and into the small intestine where absorption is swift. Picture the inside of each artery like a garden hose that sat all night gathering silt. The morning flush sweeps away tiny clots before they stick. Seniors who fear nighttime trips to the bathroom can front-load those glasses within the first 15 minutes of waking, then taper fluid after dinner. Add a squeeze of lemon if you enjoy a mild citrus note. The acid nudges bile from the liver and helps usher cholesterol into the digestive tract for removal. Cost: pennies. Benefit: research shows a 6% drop in systolic blood pressure within weeks, simply from consistent hydration at dawn. Habit 2. Put color on half the plate, every plate. Food writers call it the rainbow rule, but Wareham preferred the green wall. When half your dish flashes with vegetables and fruit, two good things happen before a single bite touches your tongue. First, fiber volume crowds out space that would otherwise hold refined starch or fatty meat. Second, pigments, deep red lycopene in tomatoes, orange beta-carotene in carrots, purple anthocyanins in berries, act like molecular polish, wiping oxidative rust from vessel linings. You do not need exotic imports from gourmet stores. Spinach, carrots, beets, bell peppers, cucumbers, apples, and bananas already carry the palate and cost less than processed snacks. The trick is plate sequence. Load vegetables first while hunger is sharp. In restaurant buffets, Wareham walked straight to the salad bar, filled half his plate, and only then surveyed cooked entrees. At home, the same rule applies. Arrange the steamed broccoli or raw pepper strips before scooping rice or ladling soup. Chewing crisp plants slows meal speed, which lets gut hormones signal satiety on time, preventing the silent overeating that stretches the stomach and spurs weight gain. After 30 days of wall-building meals, most people see waistlines retract by 1 to 2 inches without counting calories, and blood sugar swings calm because fiber nets each glucose wave. Habit 3. Choose nuts over pills. One humble palm of walnuts, almonds, or pistachios supplies arginine that widens vessels, magnesium that steadies heartbeat, and plant sterols that chase bad LDL cholesterol out of circulation. Statin drugs lower LDL but can trigger muscle pain. Nuts lower LDL by a different route, pulling it into bile for excretion, without cramps or copays. Wareham measured precisely 14 walnut halves each dawn and slid them into a pocket jar. The visual limits stopped him from accidental handfuls after lunch. Salt-free and raw is best. Roasting at high heat can scorch delicate fats. Worried about calories? Trade one processed snack, cookie, cracker, or candy bar, for the nuts rather than adding them on top. Clinical trials show that adults who adopt a 1-ounce daily nut habit typically maintain or even lose weight because the healthy fat and fiber flip off craving circuits. Memory also perks up, likely because alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 cousin in walnuts, nourishes brain cell membranes. So when you nibble nuts, you guard both your heart and your recall of grandchildren's birthdays. Habit 4. Walk like you are mailing an urgent letter. Expensive gyms intimidate many seniors, yet arterial walls cannot tell whether blood flow came from a treadmill or a sidewalk. The magic is rhythmic leg motion that squeezes calf muscles, pushing vein blood uphill and pulling new oxygenated blood through coronary arteries. 30 minutes at a chat-friendly pace drops heart disease risk by up to 40%, but smaller slices count. 10 minutes after breakfast loosens joints. 10 mid-afternoon fights drowsiness. 10 after dinner evens post-meal glucose. People with knee arthritis can swap outdoor strolls for indoor hall laps or a seated pedal device. Pace matters less than consistency. Imagine you are mailing a last-minute bill before pickup. Steady, purposeful, not frantic. Use environmental cues. Pass every mailbox on the street, circle the block, or climb each floor of an apartment tower once per day. Studies confirm that even a daily step goal of 7,000, below the mythical 10,000, slams the brakes on mortality curves. Wareham sometimes clipped pruning shears to a belt and counted garden rounds as mileage. Chores that bend, lift, and twist add bonus flexibility to the cardio boost. Habit 5. Schedule laughter. Like medicine. Stress is the stealth saboteur that works overtime when diet seems perfect. A single angry rant spikes blood pressure more than a salty meal does. Long stretches of worry coat arteries with cortisol that makes plaque stickier. Antidote? A genuine belly laugh resets nerve tone, widens vessels, and drops both cortisol and adrenaline within minutes. That chemistry shift is measurable. Japanese researchers recorded a 35% jump in arterial elasticity after a stand-up comedy show. Wareham and DeBakey sought laughter on purpose. Old slapstick films between surgeries, joke circles with nurses in the lounge, pet videos after dinner. The tactic is simple. Cue your laughter source in advance so you do not rely on chance. Bookmark a playlist titled 10 Silly Clips, follow an online joke-a-day feed, or promise a grandchild that you will FaceTime them for a riddle at 6 p.m. A scheduled chuckle may feel forced the first week, yet brain circuits quickly link the routine to pleasure, making it self-sustaining. The point is not to ignore real problems, but to vent steam before pressure warps the pipes. Habit 6. Guard sleep as fiercely as savings. Human arteries repair microscopic tears during slow-wave and REM sleep. Shorten or fragment that cycle and nightly maintenance crews cannot finish the job. Plaques grow unchecked and inflammatory signals rage. Wareham's lights dimmed by 9:30 to cue melatonin, the hormone that tells DNA it is time for cell cleanup. He banned screens from the bedroom because blue LEDs block melatonin as surely as sunlight. If falling asleep feels stubborn, borrow his 3-breath rule. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale through pursed lips for 6. The longer exhale tugs on the vagus nerve, which breaks the heart and triggers relaxation. For restless legs, soak feet in warm water 10 minutes before bed. Heat draws blood to extremities, cooling core temperature and encouraging sleep onset. Consistent bedtime seals circadian rhythms, internal clocks that also govern blood pressure dips. Seniors who sleep 7 straight hours see stroke risk plunge, compared with those who scatter rest into naps punctured by late TV. Habit 7. Use the one-line stress break. Even perfect routines crack if road rage or family disputes hijack emotions hourly. Wareham invented a personal mantra he whispered whenever frustration flared. Is this worth my arteries? Speaking the question out loud buys a 2-second pause, enough time for the prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational CEO, to regain control from the limbic alarm center. Choose your own sentence. Peace over pressure. I won't trade arteries for anger, or simply, breathe. Pair the words with a slow inhale so biology assists psychology. The phrase may sound small, yet repetition wires a reflex. Stimulus, pause, calm. Over months, the baseline tone of your nervous system shifts down by a notch, easing vessel walls the way loosening a garden hose nozzle slows wear at the seams. If deeper worries keep looping, schedule 15-minute worry appointments earlier in the day. Write fears on paper. Brainstorm one action, then close the notebook until tomorrow. Containment prevents late-night rumination that robs sleep and, by extension, repairs. Now let us weave these 7 habits into one seamless day so you can picture how effortlessly they fit ordinary life. The clock reads 6 a.m. A sliver of sunrise leaks past the curtain. You sit up, reach for the preset glass pair, and sip warm water while listening to a distant bird call. 10 minutes later, shoes meet floorboards and you step into cool air, maybe down the hall if rain drums outside, or along the porch if the sky glows pink. You swing arms gently, feeling ankles wake. Returning indoors, you stretch. Arms overhead, slow forward bend, shoulder roll, breathing deep through the nose. Stove flame kisses a pot of oats. Frozen berries tumble in, coloring the bubbling surface violet. Nuts clink into a saucer, a promise for later. While breakfast cools, you scan a handwritten gratitude list rather than headlines that spike adrenaline. At 7:15, food meets stomach. Only after that solid anchor do you brew coffee, savoring its aroma without gulping. Mid-morning brings a scheduled laugh. A bookmarked 3-minute skit plays on the tablet, and your shoulders shake in silent mirth. The chemistry change feels almost like a mini vacation. Another glass of water slides down. A phone timer pings at 10:30. Walk break. 10 minutes of hallway loops loosen hips tightened by computer work. Lunch at noon repeats the green wall rule. Half the plate roasted carrots, zucchini, and bell pepper. The other half holds quinoa and a dollop of hummus swirled with olive oil. You pluck 7 walnut halves from the jar for dessert. Chew slowly. Note their buttery flavor, hinting of earth. Afternoon slump tempts sweet snacks, but you are armed. A tall apple cut into wedges waits in the fridge. The crunch wakes taste buds without sugar rush. Another 5 nuts completes the ounce allowance. You step outside for 5 minutes of sunlight, letting rays tickle skin to generate vitamin D that calms blood pressure pathways. A neighbor waves. Conversation delivers another microdose of stress relief. Dinner sits at 6 p.m. on a calm table. Steamed broccoli, brown rice bowl flavored with turmeric and black pepper, and, on Tuesdays, a palm-sized salmon fillet draped in lemon dill. Plates clear, you lay shoes for the sunset walk. A quiet street glows amber. Each stride massages veins. Stomach digestion benefits from gentle jostle. Back home, screen lights dim to amber mode, and reading light softens. At 9 p.m., you heat a mug of chamomile. Exhale the day's leftovers. Scribble one gratitude line about the orange sky, and move to the bedroom where curtains already block street lamps. 3 rounds of the 4-4-6 breath and eyelids sag. The heart enters maintenance mode, patching microscopic nicks made during waking hours. Does every day unfold so smoothly? Life throws surprises, doctor appointments, visiting grandchildren, power outages. Yet the key elements travel well. Water can be sipped in a waiting room, nuts carried in a coat, hallway laps done in any building, laughter summoned by a memory if Wi-Fi fails. Think of the plan as a toolkit. Pull out the wrench needed at the moment rather than fear you must build the entire house each sunrise. Results accumulate invisibly at first. In week 1, you notice lighter bowels, steadier morning pulse, a faint drop of ankle swelling. By week 4, your belt notch shifts, afternoon fog lifts, and sleep onset shortens. 3 months mark the laboratory proof. LDL slips 10 to 20%, fasting sugar drops, triglycerides calm. 6 months deliver structural win. Ultrasound shows plaque stabilizing, blood pressure pills have, and you walk stairs without holding railings. A year gifts the best prize: confidence. Knowing you control so much of your future health replaces fear with quiet joy. Skeptics ask, isn't genetics stronger than lifestyle? Genes are a loaded gun, yes, but environment pulls the trigger, over and over. The habits above remove the finger from the trigger guard. Even people with familial hypercholesterolemia/event rates when they pair medication with high-fiber, low-animal fat meals and daily walks. Others worry, I am too old. Wareham changed at 50, DeBakey at 48. Meta-analyses show that people who adopt plant-forward diets after 60 still carve heart attack risk by a third within 2 years. Arteries do not read calendars. They respond to chemistry in the blood. Consider also the ripple effect on family. Grandchildren copy what they see. A grandpa who walks after dinner and spoons berries onto oats models resilience stronger than any lecture. One woman told Wareham her teenage grandson started drinking water first thing because grandpa does it and looks awesome for 75. That boy may never know the heart attack he avoids at 50 because of a habit absorbed at 15. Yet do not chase perfection, chase persistence. Missing a walk is not failure. Skipping 5 in a row begins a slide. Eating cake at a birthday party is celebration. Letting the box sit on the counter for breakfast tomorrow is sabotage. Wareham kept a simple ledger. If 3 meals in a day were plant-based and sugar light, the day counted as a win no matter what dessert appeared on Saturday night. Over a year, his score hovered near 85%, high enough to keep calcium scans almost frozen. Technology can help but need not complicate. Cheap step counters motivate some. Paper calendars with checked boxes work for others. A jar of beans moved from one bowl to another each time you drink a glass of water offers tactile satisfaction. The objective is automaticity. Habits run on autopilot, so willpower is freed for bigger tasks, like learning a skill or guiding a child. Summing up, the 7 habits work as a chain. Warm water primes circulation, colorful plates coat arteries with antioxidants, nuts smooth lipid charts, walking scrubs, vessel interiors, laughter resets hormones, sleep repairs microtears, and stress breaks prevent sudden surges. Break one link and the chain still holds. Embrace all 7, and the chain becomes an armored cable stretching decades. The daily action plan is not about chasing immortality, but about adding high-quality mornings to the calendar. Mornings where you tie shoes without puffing, climb bus steps with ease, stand up from a theater seat without grabbing a cane. Those ordinary triumphs shape extraordinary years. Dr. Wareham often ended lectures with a farmer's blessing he learned as a boy. May your fields stay soft and your plow last long. Replace fields with arteries and plow with heartbeat, and you hold the essence of cardiovascular longevity. Your arteries are living fields ready to stay soft if watered, fed with gentle fertilizer, protected from storms of sugar, and given nightly rest. Start tomorrow with 2 glasses of warmth and a walk to the mailbox. Plant a seed of color on your plate, crack a walnut shell, smile at a clumsy puppy video, breathe the 4-4-6 cadence, and whisper the one-line break when traffic blares. Each act feels small, but together they stretch the horizon of your life so far forward that 20 years from now, someone will ask, amazed, "What is your secret?" And you will answer with a grin, "Just 7 little habits I started one ordinary morning."